Well. Welcome back, Flash Fest fans. Took a short week off last week, and now we're back. Week 7 is underway, and we're going ahead and really week 8 is underway, and we're doing a recap for week 7. So, where do we leave off? Well, the first game of the week was pretty huge. It was the Proselytes, Sadiq's team, against the Zip Dogs, Zip Your Mouth, Shut It, Von's team. You know, Sadiq heard a message at church this week that talked. It was from the Beatitudes, Matthew chapter 5, and pastor talked about blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And so, Von, I'm going to ease up on my comments this week for you and the rest of the losers in the league, and I'm just going to be nice. So I'm going to concentrate on the winners. That was Sadiq scoring the high score for the week. Peyton Manning, 41 fantasy points. DeMarco Murray doing his thing. Number 1 running back in the league, 20 and a half fantasy points. Vereen with Ridley down. Vereen has been able to step it up. 28 and a half fantasy points. So Sadiq was able to score 164. It was just a W. So moving right along. We had the Smashers taking on No Chance. Smashers won. Again, in good spirit, we're not talking about you this week. So let's focus on what Mike did. Tony Romo, 27 fantasy points. McFadden, 13. Bradshaw out the backfield, 19 and a half. Thomas just catching the ball, getting touchdowns, 35 fantasy points. Antonio Brown, consistent every week. Antonio Brown, like what he's doing out there, and so he gave him 121 fantasy points, moving No Chance to 5-2. So good job, Mike. Juan, moving right along. Then we had a huge game. This was like a battle for first place. We had Chris with 2 losses, taking on Patrick with only 1 loss. And this week, Chris got the victory. Chris has been red hot lately. I mean, he had the high score the week before, and this week he scored just enough, to get it done. So Aaron Rodgers, 32 fantasy points. Dez Bryant, just really doing his thing, 19 and a half fantasy points. Excuse me. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't sneeze. You can't sneeze at Chris. I mean, he's trying to fly under the radar. But we're paying attention to him. So anyway, Mike Phillip Rivers gave you 17. Jordy Nelson's been consistent with 18, but your Skins buddy Alfred Morris, he only gave you 6. So I don't know what was going on there. So anyway, good job to you, Chris. We all know that Pat is going to bounce back. Moving right along, we had Lewis taking on Larry. Larry. Tannehill, 27 fantasy points. Matt Forte, 26 fantasy points. The Ravens defense, oh man, did they step it up. Gave him 24 fantasy points. That's the defensive production that I think most teams want to see, instead of getting points taken away and subtracted and everything else. So good job to you, Larry. Way to get that victory, sending you to 5-2. I think this is your year to make the playoffs. Take it one step at a time. You'll make the playoffs this year. It's looking like it. Next we have the Cam Stanzas. Marcus was taking on Kima, and Marcus really enjoys playing anybody, but especially Kima. And this week was no different. I mean, he beat Kima by 40 fantasy points. So good job to you, Marcus. Russell Wilson, 43 fantasy points. Man, we hope everything in his personal life gets together. We hope the team is able to get it together. But Russell Wilson showed out, and Le'Veon Bell helped him. So good job to you, Marcus. Kima, we know you'll step it up. You're 4-3, so we're sure you'll come back. Next, we had Jedi taking on Gorilla. Kevin, we thought you would turn it around sooner than that. Let's not forget the lesson from Sunday. Sorry. Speaking of Christian, good job to you. 126 fantasy points. Cam Newton, 16. Cobb, 21. Just a balanced scoring attack. So good job to you. 126 is kind of tough to beat. So overall in the standings, we have a tight race for the top of every division. We have Larry and Marcus. You know, they're battling it out for first place. Sadiq and Keem are battling it out for third and fourth right now. So it's a strong opportunity there. Then we have Patrick is still number one in the division, but he's tied with both Mike and Chris. So that makes it pretty interesting there. And then you have Christian bringing up the rear, under 500, but still in fourth place given that division. So so that's what we have for fantasy this week. We're going to start giving out some additional awards. We're going to start our book study. If you're looking for something to read over the next few weeks, we suggest from President Barack Obama, The Audacity of Hope. Yes, The Audacity of Hope is a good read. It's about an individual by the name of Lewis. His name is Louis Vidala, and the book talks about the struggle of people that are at the bottom of fantasy leagues, and they know that mathematically there's a chance, but the audacity of the hope is the fact that even though mathematically they can still make it, realistically it's not going to happen. And so chapter 1 talks about Lewis having the audacity of hope. Chapter 2 talks about Juan having the audacity of hope. It just doesn't, you know, he probably shouldn't. Chapter 3 and the rest of the book is dedicated to Vaughn. So anyway, it's a great read, The Audacity of Hope, and hopefully it will help you next season. Take care.